Welcome to Wrestling and Everything Coast to Coast with your host, this time singular, Buddy Sotelo Esquire, but joined by one of my favorite couples in professional wrestling, and that is Lex and Ellie. So, do you even use a last name now, Lex, or is it just Lex D, or is it Lex Devine?
Lex Devine. It's my name. Devine. I may as well use it.
Yes. Well, it's great to have you here this week. I know we've missed each other the last couple of weeks, and stuff has been going on in my life personally. I just got out of kidney stone surgery, so
I saw your post about that on Facebook. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's nice to get that out of my life. That's one piece of one piece of rock that A, was pretty costly. and B, that I said to the doctor, I wanted to get the rock when it's done, the stone when it's done, so I can punch it. When I'm done. You'd
hurt your hand, wouldn't you?
Well, maybe I'll get like a sledgehammer.
Punch the rock like you're the rock.
Yes, or maybe I'll get a sledgehammer and just destroy it, or burn it up in acid or something like that.
Sounds like you've had a long-term story.
Yeah, well, it's been bugging me since October, and ironically, I was doing the show with Jeannie Passon, Hollywood from Glow, and that's when I actually started suffering from my kidney stone. Was in the middle of the show, and I was like, but it was such a good show. It was one of our best shows last year. So I was like, it's just one of those times, like, when you perform, even though you don't feel good, you're like, it kind of made me have kind of like a good show, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't showing that I was hurt. But then right after that, like at midnight, I was in the hospital. So anyway. God. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. I hope you folks have had a good holiday season and have had a good new year. I mean, this is our first show since, we've seen you last year. So do you want to fill me in and our listeners in on what you two have been up to?
Wow, where to begin? Well, let's see. Back in August when we talked, I was gearing up for my match with the Chupacabra, right? Or had that just happened?
I don't remember.
Anyway, I had my debut match against the Chupacabra, NorCal absolute legend and fabulous mentor.
I know Chupi very well. Yeah, I know Chupi very, very well. He worked for me extensively in California Championship Wrestling. I mean, he was on every one of our shows, or almost every one of our shows. And yes, he's one of those guys that you do just say to yourself, pro wrestling missed out by not giving him a bigger audience. But he should have been on WCW or AEW, or there should have been a spot for him in the pros. Yeah. Especially because he's got the greatest attitude of anyone.
Yeah, I book him on every show, on any show.
Right now, I believe he's on medical hiatus, though. I've been seeing him talking about an MRI. So having just come off of some time injured myself, which is the other big piece of news, I wrestled 2 matches last year, 3 if you count the Battle Royal, and then a couple bar brawls and like random crowd stuff. And in that second singles match, I ended up hurting myself.
What happened?
I basically just tweaked my knee. I was working on it when it was already kind of hurting. And I was so worried, having been out of shape, not getting in the ring to try to baby it. I got back in too soon, really. So I've been doing a lot of physical therapy, and I only just started taking weekly lessons again, like last week.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, fortunately you're young and your ability to recover is, a lot better. Wait until you start hitting your north side of the 50 mark and you try to do anything like, sleep with it. It does amaze me that, like, I was able to do all this stuff in wrestling, and I was body slammed and clotheslined and,
For sure.
and all the schoolboys I took, and I did all the jujitsu stuff, and that was all fine. Now, if I sleep on the pillow the wrong way, it's like I fell out of a 3-story building. It's really a disaster when you get older. You know, it's stuff builds up, but you know, make sure you stay in shape. And Lex, what about yourself? What have you been up to since August?
Yeah, well, I've since changed shoot jobs. I'm doing a new gig, running a new department at yet another battery startup. In wrestling, I've been working on my next project. I just got a date tentatively, March 23rd for my next show. That'll be called The Queer Wrestling Alliance Presents All Your Heart.
Wow.
Which is going to be my first attempt at a church benefit wrestling show for the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley, which is technically in Kensington.
But don't talk to them about that. They have a lot of opinions.
Not to be confused with the First Unitarian Church of Kensington.
It's a whole thing, apparently.
Totally different place. Don't write that on time.
Especially they can't use the acronym too easily, you know.
Right. Exactly.
But so no, that's really amazing. So that's going to be so it's different than the federation you were with before this.
Yeah, I was producing with Full Queer Pro Wrestling. They're still going. Their next show date is February 10th, Super Bowl Saturday, kind of in honor of our first show that I produced with them last year, which was called Super Bold. This one is again Super Bold number 2.
Super Bold 2, the sequel.
So if you want to come out to that, that'll be February 10th, Super Bowl Saturday. I'll be there. We're hoping LED will be there.
Yes.
And that'll be at Armistice Brewing in Richmond.
Oh, I'll come out to that one too. I want to see you guys again, and hopefully I'll get a longer leash from my wife so I can stay longer and not have to leave at intermission. But I'm looking forward to it. That should hopefully it's not going to be raining like it's been raining like crazy.
Yeah, we've got some little tents, but they're really only high enough and large enough to fit the merch table. So.
Wrestling in a wet ring can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did okay last year with the weather, but fingers crossed that they're okay this year again.
Absolutely.
For what it's worth, my show in March is indoors. It'll be my first attempt at running an indoor venue.
Oh, really? That's wonderful. That's going to be great. You know, so when we get closer to that, we'll definitely have you back on the show to you know, have you promote that show as well, because we love being friends of your federation, and I'm really, if there's anything we can do, obviously from Wrestling and Everything Coast to Coast to help promote the show and to sell some tickets for you guys, we're totally on board with that. Because, and you know, it's not just because you're friends of mine. Okay, you are friends of mine, but I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this very like as a serious person. You put on a good show. Your shows are good. They're entertaining. They're fun to watch. They're well booked. They have, the matches don't go on too long. You don't have 100 matches. There's a lot of things that you guys understand about promoting shows that really shows in the show of shows.
Well, a lot of what you just said, I have to give credit to Rosie Fingers, who is the main booker at Full Queer and who I worked with as our director when I was producing Full Queer Pro Wrestling. She's still out there putting over Rosie the Cowgirl Fingers, going in more of a Western direction, like a Dolly Parton homage.
Nice. She's helped at a new promotion that just popped up in Oakland at 7th West Brewing 2 called Sensational 7. That's also her and another one of our Full Queer friends, Dingle Dome Jr. The two of them are working together for those shows, and we were out at their first one. It was super duper fun. And apparently there's going to be another one. I'm not remembering the date off the top of my head, but wanted to plug them too, because it's just, I don't know. We can only take so much credit, and we do. We take a lot of credit. We love telling people, like, yeah, Full Queer was voted QWI Promotion of the Year. Like,
It was, by the way.
That is a true thing. So many full queer
That
folks
is really cool to hear.
were nominated. Like, I'm just so proud of all of the people involved and how far we've come and everything. And we're doing our own thing too, but we don't want anyone to ever think that we don't like love and support them. Also, we did that.
Right. Right. No, I mean, that's it's very impressive. You know, I really hope that you're able to keep momentum going, you know, throughout this year. And it sounds like it. I mean, it sounds like you're adding new venues. You're you know, can you tell the audience some of the challenges? Because I don't know if the audience is. Here's a thing that like nobody thinks about with pro wrestling, and I think maybe you folks now understand a little bit more. People think about the booking. They think about, you know, the tickets. They think about the advertising. What they don't think about is the venue. They really don't understand what a goddamn challenge it is to find a good venue, to keep a good venue, to make the venue happy, and to make all this stuff happen. How did you find, you know, first of all, Armistice, and then, you know, this other Unitarian church? How did you find those places, and how are you keeping them happy?
You really just have to be willing to talk to anyone, anywhere, and you always have to keep your head on a swivel. And if you're in a place and you think to yourself, I could fit a wrestling show in here, then you should find out who's in charge and talk to them and what it would take from you to make them happy and to let you put on a wrestling show in their spot. I've been looking at an enormous Vietnamese restaurant in El Cerrito that's seemingly always empty, but it's huge. They have a huge space and just
really pretty, like
very
beams,
beautiful,
exposed vaulted ceilings.
And they're also right by El Cerrito Plaza Bart, right on San Pablo and Central. And I keep thinking I could do a pro wrestling show here. So it might be the next one that I'm promoting is going to be in a Vietnamese restaurant.
The thing about Ryan, though, is that this is his full-time hustle. Like, this is the thing he has been most focused on, I think, because I can't tell you how many times we've been out and like at a restaurant, at a bar, whatever, and Ryan will casually mention to the waiter, oh, you know, we run pro wrestling shows, and this place would honestly be such a great venue for a pro wrestling show. Do you folks ever host stuff like that here? Oh, can I talk to the manager about the possibility of doing that? And it's just so smooth, and I'm always so impressed with his ability.
It takes a lot of guts to do that.
He is Lex Devine, you know?
It takes guts to do that because, you know, the other side of it is like some people are like, wrestling, oh my, you know, you know.
Get out of here.
Yes. Why I never. Why I never, you know.
This is not that type of establishment, sir.
Exactly.
You also, of course, have to
away with thee. Away with thee.
Yeah,
exactly.
You also, of course, have to be totally comfortable with the idea of being told no.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard. No, I mean, and you know, it takes a lot of guts to do, and then the follow through obviously is a lot, you know, to make sure that, you know, and places and you want to make it a win-win for everybody, and you know, it's getting invited back is always a huge thing. But if you can, once you get the venue set, like everything else like can fall into place. Like, you know, getting the people that, because there's always people that want to wrestle, and there's always, you know, a weekend to do a show somewhere down the line, as long as you don't book it for, like, you know, WrestleMania or, you know, San Diego Comic.
Hideously impacted day, like, say, March 16th.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Try to work around that, maybe many of the major holidays. But so now, Ellie, now where are you training at? What school are you training at?
So I actually just made a switch. I had been training at Stoner U. I'm now training at Oasis Pro Wrestling, which is based in Berkeley on San Pablo. And that's run by Big Juicy Finau, Journey Fatu, and Jacob Fatu.
And who's coming in for.
Yeah, I think he's been summoned.
Now, which one of your cats is that?
This is Captain Malcolm.
Named after the captain from Firefly, Malcolm Reynolds.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, I use his meme all the time where he's like trying to explain something and then gives up on it. The Firefly can't argue meme. I use that all the time. We had a dog named Captain Ahab, so Captain's a good name for a pet.
They're very good at being captains.
So you were explaining about Oasis.
Yeah, so it's closer. They have a ton of guest teachers. In fact, I would say every time I've been in there, it's been taught by somebody else, somebody new, which gives me a really interesting opportunity. I really like the facilities. I like the people. I'm learning a lot already so quickly. And for me, I think what like really sealed the deal is just that my commute is so easy. But on top of that, I don't have any allergens. So I went there once. I was trying out a couple of different schools. I went there once and was like, wow, I actually feel like I could do cardio here.
I understand.
And they pushed me to do a lot of cardio, so I'm glad I can keep up.
Stoner, you have to put up with a little bit of extra, air pollution than normal.
I'm asthmatic.
There's some smoke in the air pretty normally at Stoner U.
I'm asthmatic. I've got a deviated septum, and I'm allergic to dogs. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can't believe I hung in there as long as I did. I think that's really a testament to how good the education at Stoner U was,
right,
for me, and how much I love the people there. Because it's a very practical decision.
Sure, I understand. Yeah. Tell me about Oasis. I mean, how did it come about, and then how did you hear about it, and then what do they do shows or what's their?
Yes.
Okay.
So Oasis Pro Wrestling is itself a new promotion. They just had their 1-year anniversary. It was, well, I'm not the best authority to speak about the history of the promotion and how it started and stuff, just because I've only been there a couple weeks. I don't know the whole story, but we did go to the very first Oasis Pro show that existed, and that was Big Toko's Kickback, where Juicy Finau basically threw a huge banger of a wrestling birthday party. He booked a huge show for all his friends. He got a bunch of musical acts out there.
Was it at the Basque Cultural Center in Hayward?
No, I don't think. No, you're mixing it up with the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame, I think. But
well, it was in Hayward.
Yeah, it was. So it was this really big ballroom, and the ring was a low boy, and we went and sat right next to the Huckabees because it was the first time in a long time we'd gotten to go to a show and not work it, which was really cool. And so we wanted to support our friends. But the show was really entertaining, and the lights went out, the cops came. It was like a legendary party.
Yeah, the power went out for the whole block. I don't think it was the show's fault.
No,
but
it was a power grid thing. But it's just such a legend now. The only picture I got the whole night is a selfie of myself in the bathroom, which was completely dark except for a green exit sign.
Wow.
I was just this encapsulates the vibe. This is all you need to know. But it was such a good show. And then a couple months later, I found out that they had their own dojo and stuff. I just didn't realize how close it was, or I probably would have checked it out sooner. But yeah, I only just signed up last month.
Well, that's great. No, and and you had your injury too, so that kept you from being able to do anything prior to that. So now Lex is also helping you as your manager too, right? And how has that been working out?
I haven't formally managed her yet, but maybe soon. So far, I've been more of an antagonist to her in the storyline.
Oh, okay.
But it's been great.
Yeah, the reality is that I'm at the point in my career where I'm heading into what is essentially going to be my rookie year, right? If you count the couple of matches from last year, fine, but like I want to start wrestling regularly this year. I want to hit as many promotions as I can. I want to be in battle royals. I want to do the whole thing. And so I really need help promoting myself. I feel like when I'm in character, I'm great at self-promotion. The second I step out of that and I have to actually put myself over, I crumple. But Ryan's really good at it. Nobody talks about me better than Ryan.
Probably true.
Everybody.
Maybe your mom.
No, so my mom actually.
I would if I were managing you. I would, trust me. I would be able to promote you just as well because you're fantastic.
But literally, my mom once said, the way Ryan talks about you and the way he looks at you, you can tell that he loves you so much and that he is so proud of you. And that is amazing. You found a good one. And then we'd get all weepy and hug because, you know, this is like something we talked about when I was a kid or whatever. But that's the reality, right? Like even the people, when the people that love me the most notice that energy from him, like I can't deny it. I need his help. I need that.
You do a pretty good job on your own too. I think that you carry your own weight in a lot in most ways. So I don't think you have to be so self-deprecating because you do a lot on your own.
Say, I've been putting myself out there as much as I can since I started training again, and I have not gotten any bites yet. Everybody's saying, "Oh, not this show, next show, maybe next show."
Yeah,
I'm waiting for a yes this show.
You always carry your gear with you, and someone's going to not show up or someone's going to get hurt, and that's where your opportunity comes in. I mean, that is the one thing that whenever I would go to a show, I would always pack a ref's shirt. I would always pack a mask and wrestling gear. Not that I would ever actually have to carry a match, but if they ever needed like anonymous guy to run in and hit somebody kind of thing, you know, I could at least do that role. So you always want to have like, you know, be ready to take any role that's available if one shows up, because sometimes people don't show up, you know, a ref doesn't show or is super late and misses like, you know, the first 2 or 3 matches and they need somebody to ref. And, you know, if you can pull in you know, that's a good way to get in the ring. And once you do, you know, they start realizing, hey, I can depend on you as opposed to the person that didn't show up. You know, I'm going to start booking you rather than the person who didn't show up.
It's so funny because this is advice that I've gotten from my coaches before. Like Rick Luxury, he was a big stickler for this. He was like, you should show face everywhere you go. You should be ready for everything. You should get a nice pair of black pants and a ref shirt. You should always, always, always have your wrestling shoes and your pads, at least. If you have to borrow gear or whatever, you need your own equipment and you need to bring it all the time. And I never felt like I could actually do that until now because I hadn't really wrestled until now. Now I've got matches under my belt. I can promote myself using clips. I've got really good promo pictures. So it feels like I actually get to try that for the first time. And I'm excited. Like that realization hadn't really clicked for me until a couple weeks ago, I guess. Taking time off was awful. I hated it. I wanted to come back so bad. And so
now you know that you should be doing this because that's the thing is, you know, if you see stuff on the sidelines and you're watching on the sidelines and you just wish you were in the ring, then you know it's the right thing for you. Then you know it's almost that you're jealous that everybody else is having so much fun up there in the ring and you're not, you know.
Yeah.
And
the FOMO was real.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's also just very legitimate advice. I mean, producing folkwear, we put people on at the last minute because they were there and had their gear and pads, and people no showed. So, you know,
the West Coast students, they have made this like an art almost. They've perfected it. They were the ones that showed up, were ready, and we were like, yes, thank you for setting up the ring. Go.
Their ring crew is great. And I always come
they're
ready
great.
to work.
Every single kid I've ever, or kind of condescending to say kid, I feel like an old lady around some of those guys. But
and your kids
they're all
to
wonderful.
me. That's the thing is that they're kids to you, but you guys are kids to me, and I'm kids to people who are in their 80s, 70s and 80s. So kind of goes down the line there. But continue with what you were saying.
I think I lost my train of thought.
About the kids that you were
shout
working
out
with.
Some of our friends again.
No, it's quote unquote the kids that you were working with.
Oh yeah, they've all been consummate professionals. Like really driven, show up on time, do what they say they're going to do, genuinely excited to help out all the time. Cool guys.
Most recently, I think we got to shout out Jaya Jewel, who on West Coast Pro had a match against one of their road talents.
Kevin Blackwood.
That's right. Jaya Jewel got over on Kevin Blackwood. I guess that was a spoiler, but that show was 2 months ago.
We were screaming from our couch, though.
That's good.
That was a great match.
It's hard because of our work schedules to get to West Coast Pro, but we're always screaming from our couch, man.
That's great. No, when your friends get over and it's a big match. I mean, when I got to see Bryan Danielson this year go up against Timothy Thatcher, that was a huge plus for me because I remember when Timothy just started getting into the business, and some of his first matches were at California Championship Wrestling. I mean, maybe his 20th match ever was at CCW. And, he was just a brand new guy, just a skinny kid. And then to see him main eventing against a legend, it just makes you feel like, wow, that's a great. And then, Samoa Joe being now the champion over AEW. I mean, I took a dive out.
Just caught up on that, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Super spoiler alert that for you. But I took a dive out from Samoa Joe. I had dinner with Samoa Joe at Denny's. Now, who is this?
This is Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
Which is why I wanted to show her off, because in addition to being our most photogenic cat, she is a best bout machine.
Yeah, and she looks like she's got the most acrobatic skills.
Yeah, you should see her Snapdragon suplex. It's so good. She just throws her sister across the ring.
Yes, cat wrestling. That's a whole different thing for you when a whole different sport. But anyway, so tell me about how your guys' holiday was. What did you guys do for the holiday time? Anything interesting? Go anywhere?
Our families are in the area, so we don't really need to go anywhere per se. But let's see. I made a bonsai with my parents.
I got this really lovely cat scarf from my mother-in-law.
That is nice. Now, have you guys been? So you said you just caught up with Samoa Joe and him becoming champion. Did you guys also watch the tournament?
Yep.
Most of it. I think we missed the very end of it because we had to go to a convention last weekend. Yeah,
we wanted to get caught up, so we skipped a couple.
We saw almost the whole tournament.
But yeah,
What convention?
I love a tournament, and I love a G1 style round robin tournament, and I loved all of the guys in those brackets, and I just want them to do this with the women's division. Please do this with the women's division. Oh my God. Okay, wait, no, hire me and then do this with the women's division.
A women's division tournament would be great.
Please, oh my God, please. I will be the 0 wins for you. Please. I will be your jobber.
Yes.
I will be the big scary jobber. Please hire me. Hi, hello.
Just watching every single episode of the weekly shows when they were running the tournament, it was like a new level of interest for us in the weekly product.
Yeah.
Purely because of the tournament story arc. I think American wrestling, they try to make it too complicated.
We just need more tournament arcs.
Japanese wrestling, they've got it down. Just do 2 tournaments, 3 big tournaments a year.
7 big tournaments if you count all the tag stuff.
And the tournament creates
round robin. Throw more tournaments at us.
Yeah, and the tournament creates an arc. I mean, you can create a story arc during the tournament, which is good. I'm not against that. I mean, they try too hard. That's because you don't have people who are involved in sports and in sports entertainment writing this stuff, booking this stuff. You have people who are comedy writers, and a couple of years ago, Vince McMahon had to fire that one lady that didn't even know, she said she never even watched wrestling. And she didn't know how to spell one of the wrestlers' names. And she said, well, that's because I never watch it.
Incidentally, I applied for a writer's job at WWE a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They don't deserve someone like you. They seriously.
I'm just looking for a job, man. 9 to 5.
I know, and it would be
around on the weekends,
It'd be so amazing to do that, but they're too stupid to know that you would be a genius. They couldn't recognize. I guarantee you, they won't recognize the genius mind that you have for this stuff. You do. I
don't look like a Playboy bunny, so I mean,
that's the problem. That's a problem. And they don't realize how you would be able to tailor something to a whole different audience that they just completely leave out, which is the, girls that want to admire the athleticism of what's going on rather than the TNA that's being on there. You're never going to make it more over with men than you have it now. I mean, it's just not going to be. But if you can prove to girls that they don't have to necessarily be Playboy models to get in the ring. You can have tough women. You can have women that are, larger but solid, just like you do in wrestling. It's not. Mm-hmm. But the Vince doesn't like that. He wants everyone to be. And Tony Khan, just because he wants to be the next WWE, just goes, well, I'll do what he's doing. But with my own talent.
To AEW's credit, they did put Abaddon on their last pay-per-view, who is classically not in that mold of the sexy women's division wrestler.
They're very sexy, but they're non-binary, a literal monster, and mostly nonverbal.
Yeah.
And they're fabulous. I actually really liked both of the women's matches on that pay-per-view for very different reasons. I think Julia Hart's doing great things. This is the most over she's ever been. It's been cool to see her kind of grow up, because I was watching her Nightmare Factory debut because I had friends in that same class. So to see her very first match and then now this, it's really cool. And Toni Storm's doing the best thing ever. She really has.
Toni Storm is killing it right now.
She's a big part of my redoubled resilience, actually, because I feel like she's doing something so different to what we've really seen anybody do before, or at least recently. The way she comes out in the very simple black one-armed leotard with a weightlifting belt, it's so genuine. It really makes me think, how hard can I push the weirder side of what I've been wanting to do this whole time, which is softcore as hardcore. I'm so soft, I'm over emotional, I cry in the ring because it's a fact of life that if somebody chops me hard enough, I'll cry. And I'm a big lady and I can take chops, and I'd almost always rather take a giant, extremely painful chop than risk something high risk with going off of a rope or something. So seeing Eddie Kingston in this tournament was great study for me.
He was amazing. He was amazing.
And
I'm glad you noticed that. A lot of people that sort of went by them and they were more captivated by Swerve, and Swerve's been great.
Fabulous too, for sure.
Swerve's been fantastic, but Kingston's told a story that has been fabulous. And continue on, but I
honestly wonder if he booked it for himself, because it feels so.
It feels specific.
Very specific and intentional, yeah. But I want to do something like that. If I'm going to get chopped a million times because I'm good at throwing chops, so something I can put myself over on. I've been studying Kingston's chops. I'm actually really excited to say that I'm going to an NJPW LA Dojo hosted seminar with Eddie Kingston this time next week.
Wow.
1 week from today. I got in. I made an application. I got in. I'm hoping that I can get some very literally hands-on advice from him on his psychology and his moveset being so specific, because I've really been studying him. And then this came around and it's like, it feels right. But I want to be the big, like, pastel, always cries, covered in glitter, super feminine version of that, I guess. Like, I want to be the archetype that the little girls and the queer kids can be like, whoa.
I love that. I love that.
She gets beat up all the time, but she's
I think that's
still
going to be
going
fantastic. I think that's going to really be because if it's a character that you believe in yourself, I mean, look, whether it's something that's The Rock, you know, or Stone Cold Steve Austin, that's them deep down, or it's just a fictitious thing like George the Animal Steele, you know, I mean, his character of being the animal was so opposite of who he was as an English teacher. But that's what allowed him to do it. It's Buddy Sotelo being like the projection of all the attorneys that I can't stand. You know, and I've got new things to add in my own personal life from some attorneys I've had to deal with recently. I can, you know, scoop into the character recently. But the fact that, you know, you have that construct in your mind of who you want to be in the ring, it drives you to be that person, to be in the ring. It's not that you're playing someone. It's that you're becoming someone. People don't get that. People don't get that. They think that you're playing somebody when you do your wrestling thing. They don't understand. And to this extent, I do want to throw out there, have you seen the movie Cassandra yet?
No.
Please, with a capital P. I beg you.
I didn't realize it was out. I'm really bad at keeping up with movies, but I loved the trailer. I've been waiting for it. So I don't know if there's going to be a movie you guys are going to love more than Cassandra. As far as a pro wrestling movie goes, it's like with The Wrestler and Peanut Butter Falcon, as far as like something that it's not better than it. It's just, you join a pantheon. You don't, you know, the gods are all equal once you hit, you know, the Parthenon. So you just hit the Parthenon and then you're there. And that's where Cassandra is. It's one of those incredibly thoughtful, just about life, not about life as a wrestler that wants to be an exotico, but so much more than just that and stuff that goes on the ring. So almost what goes on the ring doesn't even matter. You get to a point where you're just like, the ring stuff doesn't even mean anything to you, because you need to know about this guy's life and what struggles he had to go through to make it to where he was, and how Mexico isn't the easiest place to pull something like that. It's hard enough here in the Bay Area where, quote unquote, everybody is accepting of, you know, being a queer, you know, and different, you know, but in Mexico, you know, where Catholicism is still a real heavy burden, and machismo and all of that is still a big part of everything they do. The acceptance there is so much different. And I think when you get done watching Cassandra, you'll be like, thank God I live in Northern California. Thank God I live. You'll say that a few times. But, you know, I really love having you guys here. And, you know, I mean, watching you progress as from when I knew you, you know, about a year ago, I guess, you know, and seeing you guys continue to develop, it does me good, because I want to see the next generation of wrestlers. You know, I've seen great wrestling in my time and guys becoming
great wrestlers, both from my contemporary class, then from the class behind me, kind of the generation behind me, and now, a new generation is coming. And I think that you guys have the chance here in the Bay Area to help generate the next generation of wrestlers. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the Bay Area is a huge market for pro wrestling, and whenever I talk to people about what we're doing, they always bring up Hood Slam. Everyone's seen Hood Slam. Everyone knows about Hood Slam as the most well-known institution of Bay Area independent pro wrestling. But as Anthony Trevino made the case recently, UGWA was doing it before Hood Slam, and I would say someone will be doing it after Hood Slam. So the Bay Area has just grown so much in its population in my lifetime as everyone has moved here from all around the country. As Bay Area natives, we've seen this happen. But it's such an enormous market now that I think there's a lot of room for the business to grow, and for us as part of the business to help grow the market.
That's really great. And so tell me the things that you're looking forward to in 2024, other than hopefully Trump not winning an election.
Oh, no. God's ears.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess I would say I'm excited to try to run a church benefit wrestling show. That's something that I've always seen done, and I've wondered, oh, that sounds like a fun idea. I'm excited to book some new variety talents. I just ran into a SoundCloud rapper outside Berkeley Bowl today. His name is Ken Sun, KEN $ON, if you want to check him out. He's pretty good. I might book him.
Good. And what about you, Ellie?
I just want to get in the ring. I want to take so many opportunities. I just upgraded my car to something that has Bluetooth and backup cameras, and that I can sleep in the back of diagonally. Because I'm gonna make this my hustle year. You only get one rookie year. I want to make the very most of mine that I can. And I feel like I should set some sort of lofty goal. I will wrestle 50 matches, or I will wrestle in 3 states, or, just I want to keep setting goals and knocking them out, because I want to do as much as I possibly can this year. So I just want it to be busy.
Well, during the time I've done the show, I've made some good connections with people up in the Pacific Northwest, like in Oregon and in Washington. And, maybe I can talk to a few of those guys and see what the viability is if you're getting booked on some shows up there. Because I remember, I don't know if you guys know who Big Ugly is. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember how Big Ugly would fight for, he would do a show in LA on Friday. Then he would drive up on Friday night, do a show for us on Saturday, CCW in the middle of California, and then drive up to Portland and do Portland Pro on Sunday.
Wow.
And then that would be, and then he'd go back to work.
Yeah. Wow.
On Monday, looking like he'd been through, a food processor. His face would be all, Big Ugly was one of those guys that when he wrestled and got in the ring, things got really ugly, but it just amazing, maybe that's the kind, again, God help you because you're young that you can pull off those kind of things, but maybe it's the kind of thing, especially when we get a little bit less snow up there. I mean, I would want you to drive up there now when it's in the middle of winter.
I got all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive? All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
I've got all-wheel drive and this cool, high-impact off-roading mode thing in the car. I want to live in this baby. So, yeah.
Well,
the goal is to get myself anywhere if I have to.
As I said, if I can, get you booked somewhere outside of California, I will see what I can do for you, and I'm always keeping my ear to shows, and you may even find yourself traveling even further than that. I know people have driven across the U.S. to stopping in different states across the way, to do different shows or to work on different indie indie stuff. But it's that kind of spirit that will get you where you want to go. So I'm excited for that for you. And you just gotta make sure you stay in okay shape and don't let those injuries build up on you. And we gotta have a little bit more. I think that you're pretty much like almost a graduate from the Buddy Sotelo School of managerial intent. But one of these days we should get back together again and check a few boxes, because maybe there's some things I can do about helping you with promoting your shows, and when you have some solid questions about dealing with doing your, do your next show, do it yourself, and then, we can reflect on some things back and forth and things you learned about what promoting's like and so forth.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. Promoting has been a really good endeavor for me, I think, to not just learn the business and promote a wrestling show and get into that and grow that, as a pursuit. But, if you can promote a wrestling show, you can promote anything. So
yeah, you're right.
It's a tool to succeeding in life in general. Learn how to promote yourself by promoting something else.
Yeah, and it's you got to be ready to hear no a lot more times than you used to hear yes. Unfortunately, and that's the thing. I think people get very discouraged about that, and they hit a roadblock, and then once they hit a roadblock, they just kind of shirk away. And that's what great thing about you two. You are no shrinking violets, neither one of you.
Yeah, you have to decide you really want to do something, and then just keep trying to do it.
Yeah. Well,
even if it doesn't work, even if people tell you no, you have to try again.
It's the same exact biography format for every successful artist in the world, right?
Yep. Every single showbiz documentary, biopic movie, whatever, I don't know.
Memoirs.
Walk the Line, A Star is Born, any movie, any biopic about any artist, any performer.
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, you start off at the bottom, and working your way up to the top can be a lot of tough work and a lot of hell. But I believe in you guys. I believe in your ability to get the job done, and you have a lot of spirit, a lot of moxie, and some really good ideas. And that's why I'm so proud to be working with you guys, and I'll always want to be working with you guys and promoting your stuff and being able to, but get your best foot forward, because I want to see what you do become a big success.
Another thing that's sort of a cliche because it's true about show business is that you'll always encounter haters who try to stop you and tell you shouldn't do this, or you're not ready to do this, or, they deserve this more than you, so you should stop doing it. So we really appreciate your support, because what that means is that when you do find people who do want to work with you, who do want to collaborate you, who do want to put your stuff over, who do want to invest in you, those people are really important. And you're one of them. Chupacabra, who we mentioned earlier, is another one of them. He's just a treasure, and it's great to work with him.
Let me tell you a quick little story. Back in 1988, my friends put together a little contest in their backyard, in their cul-de-sac, where they would put nails and saws on front of remote control cars and run into each other.
BattleBots.
That became what is now BattleBots, which is a major TV program on Discovery Channel every week. And when they have an audience that shows up there, it is like a pro football game or a basketball game. They have thousands of people going nuts. So, and they had to do all that stuff. They got canceled off of 5 different networks and had to shop themselves around, and everyone said it was never going to last and it was never going to happen, but they stayed with it, and now it's a big deal. And I've seen that happen before, and it takes a special kind of person to do it. You have to have the drive. You have to have the ability to take no for an answer and not give up. And you two have that in you. And I never want you guys to lose that, because it would be a great tragedy if the Bay Area lost 2 wonderful wrestling minds like you guys have. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm going to let you guys get back to your cuddling and your cats and all that stuff. Really loved having you on the show. Go ahead and plug everything. Give. Oh, there he is. But he loves that. So, yeah, plug everything, please.
All right. Well, Super Bowl 2 is February 10th. That's at Armistice Brewing. Check that out. Rosie Fingers, Marco Mayur, lots of people will be on that.
Where do we find that on the web?
Captain Malcolm Reynolds. You should all name your cats after him. Then my next show is going to be called Queer Wrestling Alliance Presents All Your Heart. That's March 23rd at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley, which is technically in Kensington.
And then give out the websites for everything.
Huh?
The websites for everything.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Queer Wrestling Alliance, All Your Heart doesn't have a website, but you could check out Queer Wrestling Alliance's Linktree. It barely exists.
Okay.
I made him make it. Logo soon to come.
I'm about to live show.
Yeah.
The social media promotion is a little beyond me.
I am learning to do social media promotion on a different level because my career depends on it. So I also have a Linktree. But you can find it most easily by following me on Instagram at Elvira Wrestling, or you can get to my booking email by emailing elvira@gmail.com. Elvira is ELLIEVYRA. And I've also got a YouTube channel under that name where I'm going to be launching a Patreon involved series of DIY videos about how to improve your gear as a pro wrestler from the perspective of a very accomplished award-winning cosplayer.
Yeah, your audience may not know this, but she's dressed like half of the Bay Area's independent pro wrestlers.
And I made all of that stuff back there.
That is
awesome. A number of people who have worn it on TV, like Brooke Havoc, Midas Creed. We saw both of them on TV wearing looks that Ellie designed.
Nice.
So I don't have as much time as I used to sew, but I want to take this and develop it like a seminar and take that on the road with me also. So the job starts on YouTube under the name Ellie DIY.
Nice. Very good, folks. Thank you so much for being here this week, and we'll have you on again in the near future. Really love having you on. Thanks so much.
Seriously.
Good night, everyone.